Okay, so what we're going to look at here is just some higher order derivatives, just to make sure you understand how to do them. They're pretty basic. It's just making sure that you understand to do the derivative more than once. So like if you start with the function x to the 5/3, and I want you to get the second derivative, that means you're going to do the derivative process twice. So you'll do your first derivative, which would be 5/3 x to the 2/3, and then you take the derivative of that, which would be 10/9 x to the negative 1/3, and then you write it as 10 over 9x to the 1/3. So that's a second derivative. You can go fourth, fifth, sixth, you can do whatever. Mostly we do second. You might do a couple today that are a little bit more than that just to kind of practice that process. So let's look at another one. Say our function is x over x plus 1. So our first derivative, we're going to try to get the second derivative here. So our first derivative, we would use the quotient rule. So that's 1 times x plus 1 minus x times 1 all over x plus 1 squared. So I could simplify that. That's going to be x, so that's just 1 over x plus 1 squared. So that's your first derivative. And I've told you many times, like, hey, you don't have to FOIL the denominator out. But in order to get our second derivative here, you would need to FOIL that derivative out. So that would be, if I FOIL that out, oops, sorry, that would be 1 over x squared plus 2x plus 1. And then we can do our second derivative. Our second derivative of that, we can use the quotient rule again. So the derivative of the top, so we're doing that second derivative. So the derivative of the top function is 0 times that, which is kind of pointless to write, it's going to be 0, but we'll go with it, minus 1 times the derivative of the bottom, which is 2x plus 2, all over the denominator squared. I'm going to actually use this version of it. When I square that, that's going to be x plus 1 to the 4th. And then you simplify. So you'd get negative. Well, actually, let's look at this. I'm going to simplify this piece here. I'm just going to take a 2 out and write it as negative 2 times x plus 1 all over x plus 1 to the 4th. And you can see why I did that, hopefully, because there's only one term I can cancel. So this would become a 3, so that's negative 2 over x plus 1 to the 3rd. That's the second derivative. There's one other thing I wanted to show you that you might see on your assignment today, and it's a problem like this. It's just a first derivative, but it's one that I would do algebra first. So like if you have x to the 4th times 2 minus 3 over x plus 4, like that. This is a product rule and a quotient rule. Or you can do algebra first. I would suggest doing algebra first, like distribute. So when you did that, you'd get 2x to the 4th minus 3x to the 4th over x plus 4. So that's still just the function. And then you can do your derivative. So the derivative of the first term is 8x cubed. But for the second term, you're going to have to use the quotient rule. So I'm going to put brackets here. The derivative of that is 12x cubed times x plus 4 minus 3x to the 4th times 1 all over x plus 4 squared. So if I do some rewriting here, move this down so I can see it. This little 8x cubed can just stay there for a minute. Minus, that's going to be 12x to the fourth plus 48x cubed minus 3x to the fourth all over 4 squared. So you could leave it like that. You could technically put this over 1 and do the butterfly. I don't know if that would help you at all on that problem, but that's what you would do. So just remember on these, if you can do algebra first, that usually makes your life a little bit easier.